Coach, give an opening statement, and then.
Well, I think credit to Ole Miss. They caught us flat and certainly took advantage of it. And I think that with their big kid getting in foul trouble in the first half, had that not happened, we would have been in a dogfight, the entire game. But it was, partially our scouts who we wanted to go at her and get her in foul trouble, so we got really excited about that. But that kid's really good, and their point guard, McFarland's really good. I thought the game changed when, in the second half, when we were flat coming out of halftime, and our second wave, our reinforcers, we call them, went in. And they didn't score, but they went in and they played with some energy and wore the other team down and were denying that point guard back the ball a little bit. And so when our starters came back in, we were fresh against a fatigued Ole Miss team, and we were able to just blow the game open with some special performances, of course, by Riquna and I thought Morgan Stroman. But the defense of Riquna, when she came back in, she sets the tone, and she plays like that. We're tough to beat. We're tough to beat because she's determined to get stops on the defensive end that really fuel us. Stroman hitting the boards was huge coming out, and then I thought obviously the play of Pepper here. We're really excited about Pepper, and she's the kind of young person that she wants to do everything right, and so she's been learning our system and picking spots and working film crazy amount of time, watching her cut-ups, watching her footwork, really trying to make her a high-level player, and you kind of, as long as I think we've been patient with Pep, I think she's really emerging now, so it's a great time because we were a little fatigued tonight, and I thought Pepper's performance kind of, put the final nail in the coffin there for us.
Pepper, can you talk about your adjustment? I'm sure you're used to starting, and here you're coming off the bench, and talk about your progression with Miami so far.
Well, coming into Miami, I realized it was a different style of basketball. I'm used to set up half court, and this is quicker, and the offense making the transition is also quicker too. So I know that there's a lot that I need to learn, and our starting five, they've been here, they're experienced, they're our veterans, so they know what Coach wanted and what the system is, and I'm still getting used to it. And there's a lot of new stuff that I'm learning. There's a lot of stuff I thought I knew, but like Coach said, breaking on the film, there's a lot more that I need to learn. So I just take it game by game, and then obviously I'm progressing and getting better and trying to produce and give the team what they need. So, but I realize it's a learning process, and there's a lot more I need to learn. So yes, I'm used to starting, but I realize that it's nothing personal. I just need to get adjusted to the system more. So I'm not really mad. I mean, of course you want to start, but I understand what's happening. So
Can you give me a specific of stuff you thought you knew that you turned out you didn't know?
My footwork in the post, and then I never realized how important your hip movement was when it comes to making the move. So it's definitely my feet work and my hips, and just not being so robotic in the post. So there's a lot that I didn't even realize that, but I'm glad to have a coach that's willing to break it down and tell me you're good, but you'll be better if you do it this way. And so it's just basic stuff that I feel like every post player should be taught when they first start playing basketball, that I'm just now getting coming here. So.
And the team has had to learn. We had the Pepper Project for a couple of days of practice because we were stringing her out. We were really making her vulnerable. We haven't really been throwing to a big presence in 4 years here, so we were just chucking it in there and then letting good Pepper caught it as if that was a victory, and it's not a victory that she caught it. A lot of times we were putting her in a position. Her turnovers early in the season, she was averaging about 2.5, almost 3 turnovers a game. And she didn't have any tonight. She only had 1, maybe 0 against Rutgers. So that's where it's getting better. But a lot of times it's her teammate, too, actually understanding where she wants to catch the ball or seeing the defense behind her. So we've all had to adjust. But I think it's scary if Pepper's emerging like this. People, that's going to be scary because that's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Riquna, was there a big win on Monday? Anything that carried over, tonight, especially second half again, got them going again after they cut that lead to 4 points there?
Not really. It's just been a long week. Finals, basketball, study groups, and I know normally when Coach yelling, she's not having fun. She's not enjoying the game. So we got to bring her energy and make sure Coach is enjoying the game.
You had that
sweet.
You had that streak again. You had 2 straight 3-pointers, hit a 3-point play. Just describe, that sequence for you and what you felt, and obviously the lift you gave the team at that point.
I don't know. I was playing. way. To be honest, I wasn't really feeling tonight because of like the busy week and the studying and preparing for exams. So, like I say, when Coach yelling, man, it's not good.
Coach, you guys are about to finish up a pretty brutal non-conference schedule in terms of competition, some of the stiffness you're going to face. What does it say about your team, you know, with this stretch here from Michigan State to Rutgers to now in another 10 days or so, you got Georgetown. For you guys to be playing like you are against pretty top-notch competition against, you know, major conferences, what does that say about your team?
Well, you know, it says a lot in terms of, you know, this was a close ball game, but when you look at the box score, it's not going to seem that way because we just took care of business and finished the game. But the adversity, I mean, you know, I hope it's not too much. We've really challenged this team. We've really tested this team. But I think that's where the depth needs to come through. We couldn't have done this last year. We didn't play enough players, enough minutes. We could not have done this. We would have lost a game like this because we just would have been flat. And they would have been looking at the clock, waiting, you know, well, as long as tick, 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 let's get this game over with. But now we don't have that. We have an extra, you know, some boats have two tanks of gas, you know, and one runs out and you got another one sitting right there. I kind of feel that way too. And it's nice, and it allows us to have this challenging schedule. But when I looked at it, when we actually put the schedule together, you know, you schedule games here, there. The last two games we added were Tennessee and Rutgers. I mean, those were the last two games we added to the schedule. And then they just plopped in that schedule. And then when I looked at the whole, I was like, wow, you know, that's a really difficult stretch. So I'm really happy to be 8-1 right now.
Well, you mentioned the scouting and getting Bird in foul trouble. Can you elaborate what you did to accomplish that?
Well, we thought the box out was really important. I mean, she's 6th in the nation in rebounding. Okay, so we wanted to hold her to half her average. We wanted to get a couple over the back calls. We also noticed that she was a little bit late on some of her rotations on defense. And so you saw Stroman actually had a couple travels or blown plays as she was trying to generate the foul on Bird when Bird had 3. We actually wasted a couple possessions there. But Stroman was doing a smart thing, just not
try to take it to her.
Yeah, and then she kind of tried to spin around her and walked, but that was stuff we had worked on in practice, so, you know, it was kind of worth it. We were trying to get Valencia McFarland out of the game, too. But, you know, I threw a defense on the poor team that we have not even talked about her run, and I started calling it like they knew what it was when we were denying their point guard back the ball, and that's what I love about this team, because I knew my veterans knew it, and all of a sudden I was telling the newcomers to do it, and they're like, what? Like, we've never heard of this defense before. But it was just something. We needed something to sort of rally behind. So
What defense did you...
we were just pressing, and then we would trap their point guard, and then as soon as she got rid of it, we were just denying her back because she was just so important to their team. And that's when we went on that big run. They ended up taking some disjointed shots. We broke their rhythm. They forced some long jumpers. She was getting in the paint too much, and she just didn't get a touch back. That was Stephanie Uterstrom and Crystal Saunders that were doing a heck of a job with that. But it wasn't anything we practiced. It was time for it. So, my bad. I should have been more prepared.
Coach, looking what you've accomplished so far, do you learn more from a loss like Tennessee to maybe know what you need to work on? Or?
I don't really remember that game. No, you know, it's been just prep, you know, a ton of work by my staff, and I just hope they get enough credit. They're just killing themselves. I mean, they're killing themselves, and you know, and then you realize it's not like we play in the ACC too. Like that's coming too. So I'm trying to keep everybody fresh, but balance has been hard. I mean, it's been hard to get the balance when they're traveling. And then, you know, by the way, we have to go recruiting too. So we've been gone recruiting, and it's been tough, but it's fun. It's really fun.
Thank you.